unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Tim Bradley says, who has Jaron Boots Ennis fought to earn a shot with Terence Bud Crawford after Crawford defeated Errol Spence Jr.? That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. Well. So Terence Crawford defeated Errol Spence Jr. and he did it in great fashion, dominant fashion. The boxing world, typical fashion, they want to see what's next. Terence Crawford did an interview with TMZ. He says he's not going to let boxing retire him, and he only has a few more years or fights in him before retirement. So the boxing world wants to see what's next. Now, I noticed something. Every time Terence Crawford's name is mentioned with Jaron Boots Ennis, I feel like the Bud Buddies get mad and angry and amped up and energy switches when that name specifically comes about, right? And I'm not even talking about Terence Crawford himself. I'm talking about his fan base or people who are pulling for him, like Tim Bradley, right? This is what Bradley said. I love Ennis a lot, skillful as hell with great ability. But what happens when you're in front of him? What happens then to that Boots? He makes a lot of mistakes and shows a lot of experience rushing in, and they're trying to go for the kill, leaving himself wide open, leaving himself exposed. There are a lot of things that come along with that. And guess what? When you get in the ring with Crawford, that knows how to use his feet, that knows how to move and let you come to him, he's going to set you up, lay a trap, he's going to catch you, and he's going to knock you out. You heard it there, folks. Y'all didn't believe me the first time, and y'all don't got to believe me now. That's fine. Have your own opinion, but this is my assessment from a fighter that is a Hall of Famer. I've done it. I've been in the ring with Crawford. I know what he's capable of doing. Trust me, I knew he would get to this point sooner or later, right? And this is Tim Bradley. And my thing is this, Crawford looked sharp versus Errol Spence, no doubt. Errol Spence also looked, he turned in his worst night in the office as well, on top of Crawford looking sharp. Again, this is not Crawford's problem. All he has to do is train for the fight, get ready for the fight, which he did. But Errol Spence, I don't think many people that I seen, envision that it would be such a flat, non-competitive performance from Errol Spence Jr. So Errol is not making excuses. So we don't know, really what went on. But I feel like there has to be some kind of reason for him looking that way. Not that, I've seen plenty of fights where there's a skill set disparity, right? And that looked beyond a skill set disparity. He looked like he had nothing. Balance was crazy. Couldn't, establish a jab in any round. Non-competitive for as long as it lasted. That was completely different, which you don't typically expect in a 50-50 fight, right? But it happened. It is what it is. Now, here's my issue with what Bradley's saying regarding Jaron Ennis. Crawford keeps saying that he wants to fight Jermell Charlo, but for obvious reasons, that's not feasible. Jermell Charlo has a September 30th fight in a new weight class, 14 pounds north of where he's already at, and that's against Canelo Alvarez. Payday, you want payday? I know that, right? So I get it. There's been this backstory. Crawford wants what he wants, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not really a realistic fight until we see what happens with Jermell Charlo and Canelo. And you look at the plausible outcomes. Let's say Canelo, I'm just spitballing. I don't know what happens in the fight, but let's just spitball it. Let's say Canelo Alvarez knocks out Jermell Charlo. Okay. I mean, is there going to be a big desire if he gets knocked out at a higher weight class to see Terence Crawford and Jermell Charlo at that point, with Charlo coming off of a bad loss and a knockout loss? Or let's say Jermell Charlo, again, spitballing, playing devil's advocate. If Jermell Charlo, let's say he knocks out Canelo Alvarez. If he knocks out Canelo Alvarez, then is his immediate move going to be to drop back down 14 pounds to go back where he started at 154 when they're already stripping him? And I made a video, YouTube short about it. They're stripping him of his WBO belt, so he's not going to be fully undisputed as of September 30th. He's losing that WBO belt because he's not fighting Tim Tszyu. So with that being said, is it really realistic that he's going to drop back down to 154 and then take on Terence Crawford, who would be moving up? I don't know. That's a lot of moving parts. And to me, when fighters play with their weight too much, it's usually not good. You know, like Roy Jones Jr. going up to heavyweight and then taking a Tarver rematch at like light heavyweight. That's usually not good. So I don't know how realistic it is. So that being said, who is Crawford going to fight? Because Jermell Charlo, you know, he's earmarked for something completely different. So until we get some answers there and see how that plays out. I mean, Charlo also is going into this Canelo fight off of some inactivity and a hand injury, right? So we have to see how his hand even looks in this particular fight. So again, as I just stated, a lot of moving parts. Now back to the Jaron Boots Ennis situation. For me, I like the fight because Crawford has showed that he's a class fighter. He's sharpshooter, ring IQ, all that good stuff. But my thing is this: who do you want to see him fight that's realistic, if not a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis? Because I see a lot of the Bud Buddies, they keep saying, no, Boots doesn't deserve it. How's he earned it? Which I'll get back to in a second. But in addition to that, I'm seeing comments like, oh, he's going after Mel. But again, Mel's not available. Like, it is what it is. You can try to go after someone else, but that someone else is booked and they're booked for a fight in another weight class. So there's too many moving parts. My personal opinion, I think Crawford, coming off a sensational performance and being undisputed and having the end of his top ranked career fighting one time a year, it would behoove him and benefit him to capitalize off of this and actually fight again. I mean, he took no punishment in the Errol Spence fight from what I've seen. His face wasn't marked up. He didn't get stumbled or, you know, noodle legs or anything like that. So to me, it seems like it makes all the sense of the world for Crawford to try to capitalize off of having this much. This is the best name on paper that people feel you fought, and it was a sensational performance. Why would you go dormant after that and then, you know, people forget about it because you just fight one time a year or something? That doesn't make sense to me. So for me, Jaron Boots Ennis seems like a suitor that makes sense. In addition, that's his mandatory now because it was Errol Spence's mandatory and you just beat Errol Spence. So speaking of Boots being the mandatory, here's the thing. It's so funny that you have certain fighters, they're doing it now with Terence Crawford, and then Canelo's fans did this for Canelo. What am I talking about? The thing is, Crawford's career, he's fought the names that just were available for the most part up until this Errol Spence fight. And the Crawford Bud Buddies have no problem with him fighting those names. Whatever top rank can shell out, you know, former champions at like the last couple fights of their career, like Kell Brook or Sean Porter. Literally, it was Sean Porter's last fight of his career. He said he knew he was retiring, etc. Guys on BOK Prime like David Avanesian, David Avocado, guys like Mean Machine. So it's funny that I hear Crawford fans and Tim Bradley and others, and they're like, no, man, come on, what has Boots done? Boots got to fight this person, this person, this person. Boots got to do this, this, and that, and the third to get and earn a shot with Crawford. But based on the ranking system, he has earned a shot with Crawford because he's the mandatory, and that was the case, such was the case with Mean Machine. So I find it very ironic when the name Boots Ennis comes up, right? Crawford's fans feel that Jaron Ennis has not a leg to stand on in terms of demanding or wanting that fight. But like Mean Machine, Aegis Kavalauskas, who was the mandatory. Boots is his mandatory. So what are we talking about here, right? Here's the other thing. Mean Machine was coming off of a draw with Ray Robinson. And if you watch that fight, he literally should have lost that Ray Robinson fight. Versus Boots Ennis is coming off of a Via performance where he was fighting in slow motion and doing Matrix-like moves and has been calling out Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and he's a big, strong welterweight. And again, I get this. If you pick against Crawford, and this is not a fight prediction. I'm not giving a fight prediction because the fight's not assigned, and that's not my style. I told you, I don't give fight predictions if it's no fight. That's just a waste of my resources and time and energy. But what I am saying is, to me, on paper, it's a good fight, and maybe Crawford is in a league of his own and nobody can beat him. Cool, but fans still got to see that. And at the end of the day, based on his performance with Errol Spence, a lot of people don't feel there's a need, including myself, there's not really a need for a rematch because of the punishment sustained by Errol Spence Jr. I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle, and you're putting yourself in a do or die type of position if you go in by December, which is what Errol Spence said post-fight, and then you don't have the fight look different or win the fight. We know how it is to take back-to-back losses in boxing. It's just not good. So my thing is this. Jermell Charlo, as I stated in this video, absolutely booked. Errol Spence Jr., many people feel the rematch is unwarranted or unneeded, even with the rematch clause based on how the first fight played out. So why not Boots? You see what I'm saying? Boots makes sense. And for me, how is it that Crawford in his camp and team have made fights with David Avanesian, and then the Crawford fans, they had no problem with that, but then now it's who's Boots beat and what has he done? Who is David Avanesian beat? Josh Kelly, who had like 10, 11 fights? Do you see what I'm saying? That's exactly what happened with Canelo. When Canelo was pitted against names that the fans wanted to see, David Benavidez, David Morrell, right? Demetrius Andrade, Jermall Charlo at a point in time, right? The Canelo fans, the Chupapi Muñeños, they kept saying, who is Andrade beat? Who is Morrell beat? He hasn't done anything. But then Canelo will off and fight Avni Yildirim, and Avni Yildirim was coming off a loss and a 2-year layoff, and no one in boxing really thought he was good enough to beat Canelo. You see what I'm saying? So even if Benavidez or Morrell can't beat Canelo, they're undoubtedly better fights than certain fights that Canelo's already taken, like Amir Khan or Avni Yildirim or Rocky Fielding. So what's the difference? And that's what I'm asking here with Crawford is if we really watch Crawford fight Amir Khan when they fought, and I didn't know anyone that was really giving Amir Khan a chance, or people that thought Crawford would lose to Mean Machine. If anything, the Mean Machine fight was tougher than expected for a lot of people, right? Or the David Avocado fight. I mean, Crawford could take these fights throughout his career and John Molina fights and things like that. But then Boots Ennis at least looks special in his own right. And then now you have Crawford fans who are saying they don't want to see it. That looks a bit odd to me. That's just my honest opinion. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, and I'm out. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with a $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.